Good evening and welcome to the Paranormal Lens podcast presented by Jotnick's Paranormal. My name is Jamie Widener. I will be your host this evening along with Chad Thomas. Mr. Thomas, sir, good evening. How are you? What's going on?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Feeling a little older today, Jamie.
You're looking a day older than you were yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Happy belated birthday, sir.
I
And
thank you. I appreciate that.
you do look good for your age. So
I, I guess that's good.
yeah.
So,
You
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I always say I don't look as old as I feel. So
I
no,
get that. Yep.
I
So,
don't think that's possible at this point. Ugh,
so
goodness. But I hope
um,
you had a good day.
I did. It was a good day. I got together with some friends. I spent some time out in nature, grounding and
Yeah,
taking pictures, which I enjoy. And
totally.
Um, so yeah, it was a good day. So, and that was on the heels of an investigation this weekend, which is always a good time.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
it was a little weird, but it was a good investigation.
Well, I mean, we're paranormal people. Everything we do is weird to people, right?
This
Like
is true. Yeah.
and so but yeah, it was the brewery was a little different feeling wise,
Hmm.
and the usual hotspots were less active than usual, but then some places that aren't usually were. So
Right.
and I think it kind of all culminated in the catacombs at the end with some really interesting activity in the bat room. Um, so you're right. It was different
Hmm.
in a good way. I'll
Yep.
take it there and say that. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I haven't had time to look at evidence review or anything yet either. But anecdotally, I think we had a good group of people. Of course, that helps.
Hmm.
Interested, engaged. As usual, people dissipated as the evening went along. The lateness of our nights are more than most are used to, or many are used to.
Hmm.
But and actually, this is the first time in a long time that none of the guests were staying over, either in the hotel, the central hotel part of the property, or the Airbnb across the street. Everybody was traveling back
Right.
somewhere. That was different, but also good. You
Hmm.
know,
Yep.
so
So yeah, it was fun. So
it was. So and why not, right?
uh,
You make the best friends in the dark at 2 a.m.
yeah, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
There's
went-
Bert Lynch.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
All right. Well, I this is tonight is a big topic, and so I not to you know chit chat too long here, but and I enjoy keep catching up with you, but
uh-huh.
I think we really are here for a topic, so let's get into it. Tonight
Okay.
we are here to talk about the ancient Ram Inn. That's his full title,
Hmm.
and at one point it was just the Ram Inn when it wasn't so old, right?
Okay.
And I'll explain why it's called that in a second. But we start with where are we in the
Uh-huh.
world? We are in Great Britain, in England, and we are on the western side. We are about 2.5 hours west of London, and about approximately an hour east of Cardiff, Wales, at the location of 8 Potters Pond in Woton Under Edge, Gloucestershire, England. And if you can say all of that 10 times fast, Watton Under Edge, Gloucestershire, England, I think you get a prize. I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out later. Uh, but put it in the voicemail or something, send it to me or voice text.
Email it to us at paranormallenspodcast at
Yes,
gmail.com.
there you go. Uh, gosh. So the reason it's called the Ancient Ram Inn is that it is ancient. It is a location that has been standing for a very, very long time. So we're going to start with the history as we always do, and there's a decent amount of it, um, and then some context too, and then of course we'll get to the paranormal stuff, which
Okay.
is why we're all here, right?
Hmm.
So I'd like to welcome you to one of England's oldest inns, and England's forever old, so being one of the oldest really says a lot. The ancient Ram Inn is widely recognized as one of the most haunted buildings in Britain. Its reputation comes not only from centuries of human activity, but also from the many stories, legends, and reports of paranormal phenomena connected to the property. Originally constructed in 1145, that's 1145, a very, very long time ago,
Wow.
the inn began as a practical residence associated with the nearby St. Mary's Church. Over time, its history and location gave rise to folklore, and the building gradually acquired its notorious reputation. Today, it stands as a significant site for those interested in history, folklore, and the paranormal. Before we start exploring that stuff, it's important to understand the historical context of the inn's construction in its early years. Again, it started in 1145. So, initially, the inn was intended to serve as housing for church officials and craftsmen involved in the construction of nearby St. Mary's Church. The year 1145 was a considerable period of considerable activity across England and Europe, and situating the inn in historical context helps to appreciate its significance. Some global things were going on. The Second Crusade started. It was 1145 to 1149. European powers launched military campaigns to the Holy Land, which affected travel, trade, and political stability across the continent. The anarchy in England was in full swing. This was 1135 to 1153. So the civil war between King Stephen and Empress Matilda, and it caused political instability, particularly in the western regions where the inn is located. There was a lot of religious growth. Monastic and church buildings projects were common, reflecting the influence of the church on daily life and architecture. And again, the church was being built. At St. Mary's Church was being built nearby, proving that as well. And around the rest of the world, in places that we knew and didn't know yet, the Song dynasty in China was making some significant advancements in technology, printing, and governance. And the Mayans were reading calendars and living their best life in Central America long before any of us knew they were even there. So in this setting, the ancient Ram Inn was constructed to serve both functional and residential purposes, eventually becoming a site with layered history of human occupation. So this is the 1140s. This is medieval times. So what's life like back then? Daily life in the 12th century was very different from today. Makes sense, right?
Hmm.
Served as practical hubs for travelers and local residents. Life at the ancient Ram Inn during its early years would have included basic accommodations, straw stuffed mattresses, very simple furniture, minimal privacy, food and drinks, of course. It's an inn, so there'd be locally sourced bread and meat, and as well as ale, which was the drink of choice. And they provided sustenance for guests and residents. And community interactions. Inns were social centers where news, trade, and local disputes could be exchanged. And that really hasn't changed a whole lot. If you go over to Ireland, public houses are still very much the same way. We have the privilege here in our area of having TELUS 360, which is very much that, a
Right.
social house with an Irish tint to it. And the inn's proximity to the church meant it was closely tied to the ecclesiastical activities, and its architecture reflected both practical needs and stylish trends of the period. So, as a transition from the church time to a private home, originally the church property, the inn later transitioned through various owners, reflecting the social and political changes of England over the centuries. During the Tudor and Stuart periods, England experienced religious reformations, witch trials, more on that, and social unrest. Buildings with old foundations and unusual features, such as the ancient Ram Inn, became associated with folklore and superstition. By the 20th century, the inn had fallen into partial disrepair, eventually purchased by a gentleman named John Humphreys in 1968. Mr. Humphreys and his family reportedly experienced extensive paranormal activity during their residence, which helped cement the inn's reputation. He lived there until his death in 2017, often sharing accounts of encounters with spirits and unexplained phenomena. Some of the early things. The ancient Ram Inn's paranormal reputation has roots in centuries of local stories and broader historical practices. Some of the key legends include that it was a pagan site. The land may have been used for pagan rituals prior to the inn's construction. It has witchcraft connections. The inn is linked to alleged witch trials and executions in the 16th and 17th centuries. Their remains were found, and unfortunately, they were from children. Skeletal remains have been reported, leading to the speculation of ritualistic or tragic deaths. And something we've talked about before, perhaps, but there are ley lines. Some research suggests that the inn sits on intersecting ley lines, which are believed by some to carry spiritual energy. And more on that, go back to season 1. I'm going to say episode 12 or 13. These stories combine to the building's reputation as a site of mystery and supernatural interest. So that leads us to paranormal stuff, right?
I hope so.
I hope so, right? Well, there's enough. Don't worry. So, some of the claims. Over the years, the ancient Ram Inn has been associated with a variety of supernatural phenomenon. There's a witch. A female spirit is believed to be connected to a historical execution. There's a demonic presence. Reports of dark, oppressive entities and physical interactions. A succubus. Descriptions of a malevolent entity reportedly interacting with male residents or visitors. There are children spirits. Some are associated with historical events, while others may reflect local lore. And our favorites, poltergeists and shadow figures. Unexplained movements, noises, and apparitions are frequently reported. These claims have been reported by residents, visitors, investigators, contributing to the inn standing as a major site of paranormal interest. Let's get into some of the specifics. Certain areas of the inn are frequently cited as particularly active. The witch's room is the first. This is associated with an executed witch. Visitors report a sense of dread and unexplained activities. The room is named after a woman who reportedly took refuge there in the 1500s before being discovered and executed for witchcraft. Her restless spirit is said to linger in the room, often appearing in front of windows to pass her by. Some accounts describe dark shadows moving across the room and a crippled child's ghost waving at people through the windows. Visitors report scratches or burns as if attacked by an unseen force and have detected overwhelming smells of smoke or burning flesh.
Hmm.
It's said that the mummified remains of a cat discovered in the walls belongs to the witch's familiar. Witnesses report that a black cat ghost haunts the room, possibly the spirit of that feline remains. And a ghost hunting team described a powerful presence. Cat balls, which we all know about, are spirit detection devices, positioned on a bed and dresser, both flash at the same time, but from different locations and without any physical interference. A K2 EMF reader spiked to red while questions were asked aloud as if the spirit was responding. This is one of my favorites, Chad, and it takes us back to another episode. But a table rocked, spun, and even walked across the room, seemingly propelled by an unseen force, despite minimal physical contact from investigators. Go back to our table tipping episode there as well.
Yep.
So, quite a lot of things. The next space is the bishop's room. This is allegedly home to multiple spirits, including perhaps.
So that was all one room?
That was the witch's room. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
Sorry.
no, you're good. So, yeah, this is another room.
Okay.
This one's called the bishop's room, allegedly home to multiple spirits, including former clergy, hence the bishop's room name.
Mhm.
There are spectral figures, and the spectral figures frequently encountered include, and there are many, monks, sometimes one, other times two, seen quietly lurking in corners. They're often described as dark, hooded presences. A cavalier, also known as a horseman. Some witnesses claim to have seen him pacing or riding, even, through the walls. A Roman centurion on horseback, reported to move through solid walls, and even was experienced vividly by a plumber doing work. There's a hanging woman. She is seen dangling upside down from the ceiling beams. And lastly, here, a shepherd with his dog reportedly seen near the doorway. The room also is believed to have devil worship artifacts embedded in the structure, like horseshoes and wood circles placed within the chimney. Paranormal groups advise knocking 3 times with a shepherd's crook and asking, "Can I come in?" before entering the room, or risk being thrown out.
Okay.
And now that I've finally been asked to leave a room, I totally understand this because I did that before. So, um, yeah.
And I actually got asked to sort of leave the group the other day. So yeah,
You did. Yes, absolutely. So, intriguing.
so
All
um
right.
so Bert's saying I guess we will have to add Scotland and England to our Ireland road trip.
Well, there's a fairy to bring over from Ireland, so we'll get you there. And Heather commented a while back that she wants to investigate the witch's room. So yeah, me
Mhm.
too, along
Mhm.
with all the rest of it. And there's more, so hold tight. The next space is the attic. Reports here include moving objects and the sounds of footsteps. Multiple visitors and the inn's former owner, Caroline Humphreys, report hearing heavy, sometimes rhythmic, dragging noises across the attic floorboards. These noises are seemingly transmitted down to the bishop's room below. Shadow figures and unexplained knocking have been reported, in line with paranormal activity connected to the floors and ceiling. And local lore says the attic is haunted by the ghost of an innkeeper's daughter, allegedly murdered there in the 1500s, and as one medium named her Elizabeth. Might be her name,
Okay.
right? The next space is a barn. So this is noted for supposed demonic activity and unusual energy readings. Firstly, a 7-foot shadow figure has been seen at the doorway. Multiple write ups describe a very tall black silhouette that guards, for lack of a better way of saying it, the barn entrance. He is aggressive toward men and selectively engages with certain women. Witnesses frame it as a demonic protective presence rather than a human spirit. There is aggressive vocal phenomena. Groups starting their night at the barn have captured growls and terse commands like "get out" on recorders and spirit boxes. Some sessions also report mocking laughter. A recent public event recap logged "help, help us, get out" and a growl in the barn area. There is generally oppressive energy and trigger object hits. Team write-ups note the barn as a frequent vigil spot with spikes on gadgets like cat balls and REM-style touches, where a figure is said to be near. So,
Hmm.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, the inn has attracted significant attention from paranormal investigators and media outlets. It's been featured on television programs such as Most Haunted, Ghost Adventures, and The Great British Ghosts. Reports of air, of course, include things that we discussed, but sudden temperature drops, EMF fluctuations, disembodied voices, and objects moving without explanation. While skeptics often cite environmental factors such as old construction, drafts, and psychological suggestion, it's the consistency of the reports that have maintained the inn's paranormal notoriety. In the inn today, the inn operates primarily as a heritage site. So you really don't have it as an active inn anymore.
Right.
And then it's a venue for ghost tours and investigations. Visitors to the site can participate in guided tours, exploring the building's history and paranormal claims, stay overnight for ghost hunting experiences, and observe historic architecture, relics, and artifacts related to its past. Although it is no longer a traditional inn, the building's preservation allows both historical study and continued engagement with its haunted reputation. So, why does this place endure?
Hmm.
The ancient Ram Inn remains significant due to its historical importance. It's one of the oldest continually standing structures in Gloucestershire. The folklore and legend of it, centuries of stories, have reinforced its reputation. Media, right? And media attention. There's TV shows, blogs, publications, and now podcasts that have highlighted its paranormal activity. We're not the first. Sorry.
I'm sure.
And visitor interest. The site continues to attract historians, ghost hunters, and tourists daily. Its longevity and layered history make it a unique site where historical study and paranormal investigation intersect. So, to conclude, it's a house that refuses to be ordinary. The ancient Ram Inn is more than just a timber frame building in Wotan under Edge. It's a layered timeline of English history wrapped in whispers and shadows. On one hand, its origins reflect the evolution of late medieval domestic life, the wool trade, and the changing uses of parish buildings across the centuries. On the other hand, the inn has become a magnet for tales of restless spirits, demonic encounters, and inexplicable phenomenon that have captured the imagination of ghost hunters and storytellers alike. What makes the ancient Ram Inn so compelling is not whether every claim can be historically verified or scientifically explained, but rather the way history and folklore overlap inside its creaking beams. Each room offers a narrative. The bishop's room, steeped in terror, the witch's room, echoing the accusations from centuries past, and the barn and attic, heavy with lingering presences. Whether one visits seeking heritage or hauntings, the inn serves as a reminder that history is never entirely silent, and sometimes it speaks in ways we don't expect. Ultimately, the ancient Ram Inn endures because it straddles two worlds, one anchored in documentary history and the other in the realm of the unexplained. In doing so, it invites us to ask bigger questions, not only about England's architectural past, but about why humans continue to find meaning, fear, and fascination in places where the line between the natural and the supernatural grows thin. We cite some sources and we'll discuss.
Hmm.
It's a long list, bear with me. Hauntedbritain.com and the Ancient Ram Inn. Triskele, which I think I'm saying right, Triskele, heritage.triskellypublishing.com. Medieval Myth Busting, the Ancient Ram Inn. Medium.com, the real story of the Ancient Ram Inn. Travelawaits.com, England's haunted Ancient Ram Inn. Haunterooms.co.uk, ghost hunts at the Ancient Ram Inn. AstonishingLegends.com, the Ancient Ram Inn. There's a pattern here. BBC.com, the Ancient Ram Inn, Britain's most haunted. ExploringGB.co.uk, the Ancient Ram Inn haunted building. SpiritShack.co.uk, haunted places, the Ancient Ram Inn. I love this one. SpookyIsles.com, the haunting truth, Ancient Ram Inn. LittleHouseOfHorrors.com, the Ancient Ram Inn. HouseCrazySarah.life, Ancient Ram Inn of Gloucestershire, England. And finally, the actual website for the location, ancientramin.co.uk. Chad, passport's got to get gotten, and we got to get a plane.
I got a passport. I'm
All
ready
right.
to go.
All right. Well, let's book it. Uh, do you want to go first? You want me to keep talking?
Wow.
Go.
I mean, I got to process some of this, Jamie.
Well, there's one thing here that I didn't bring in because it's the narrative says 1145, but there is another narrative that says the building isn't that old or as old as that. So the I guess there's England, the UK, everywhere. In the UK, there's documented history. It's forever old, right?
Right.
And it is well done. They figured it out a long time ago how to keep records accurately. So there is some tale that the building isn't this old because there's a different narrative of a building being built on the property as late as 1495 or 1496, somewhere in there. So
Okay.
300 and something years later. That's still really old, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
1495, Columbus only sailed in 1492. He was on his way back,
Right.
So the New World was barely discovered. This is still really freaking old. It's just not as old.
Right.
So, I'll
And
take either one at this point
and
because I still would believe the rest of it.
and it's so hard. I mean, we have better records from England than a lot of other places. But it could
Because
be
they're in English.
but it could be that things were like it was built and then there was an addition put on, or there, like
Right.
it
Yes.
tra- translating English sometimes takes some work. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Yes. That's fair. And if you've ever, I remember being in college, I had to read a the Tale of King Arthur, but it was Le Morte d'Arthur, which was a translation of French to English, and it was Old English. It was old English with an E on the end. It was that old,
right.
you know? And oh my gosh, it's a great story, and I think everybody should read it at some point, but it was so hard to read because it wasn't English as we know English now,
Right.
and I get that going back through these documents and records and everything, and everything's in hand, a lot of mostly with a quill. You know,
Hmm.
they didn't have Sharpie pens yet, that I can't live without now. So I totally get that, and it was as good as it could be, and
Right.
anything is only as good as what's been captured.
Right.
And take
But yeah,
take it for what it's worth.
to your point though, whether it's 1400s or 1100s, that's still ancient.
Yes, it doesn't lose the ancient
No,
either way.
exactly. Um, Heather says, I like that it not only has human spirits, but cats and dogs also.
Yep. I'm sure there's probably something more in the barn that's just waiting to be found as well.
Yeah.
Some other animals and
I
whatnot.
was, I
Certainly
was
would have livestock in that time.
yeah, I was definitely thinking like stock horses, like that came to
Mhm.
mind.
Well, sure. And there is a horse. There's a tale of a cavalier with a horse, or perhaps a centurion with a horse,
Mhm.
um, going through the property as well. So that's
So,
fascinating to me as well, because the 1100s is still Roman era as well. So the centurion does make sense if it goes back to then.
mhm.
Even if it doesn't, the land would have, there would have been Roman
That,
activity
yeah,
on the land as well. I mean,
right.
certainly in this part of England. Um,
And there could have been a structure there that was 1100. Like building. We know that land has multiple structures on it over time.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, wow, there is just so much going on there. So much, like you said, layered history and energy and emotions, and the witch trials, so the it's just the children, like taking some the pagan, like the fact that it could have been a pagan site even before
Well,
this.
it would have been right
Right,
before
it's
religion, before
everything.
organized religion,
Right.
and Christianity had spread. This certainly was that, and it was, and we know better when something's pagan. We know it's not some negative entity kind of thing, or
Oh,
negative
right.
thing. It's certainly not any of that. But for those who don't know, or and I think stigma steps in here,
Mhm.
and misrepresentation steps in here, because it's not the path that you're taught or trained to follow.
Right.
Growing up in the church cultures that we have now, the traditional sense in Christianity, it's frowned upon, it's shied upon, so it gets the bad rap. But it's people who are connected to nature, and their belief systems that came from it, and not terribly unusual or unique away from Native Americans here and
Right.
First Nations people in
Right.
Canada and whatnot. Indigenous peoples all over the world. They were connecting to the nature and the environments they were in, and
Mhm.
found their deity there. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that,
No,
honestly.
no, not at all. And I
It's
wasn't I
great.
wasn't going there. It's just, if it was a pagan site where they found remnants and things like that,
Okay.
there would have been that energy that was poured into it. Like it was a powerful place for them. And that's what we find with some of the Native American. Yeah, Native American things are everywhere here because that's who settled.
Yes.
But when we come to like where we find their religious artifacts, there's just so much more energy and strength there, I think, than the day-to-day trails, the hunting areas, the other settlements. So it's just, there's, like I said, it's just that whole stone tape theory, like that energy is just there.
Yeah.
So, and this is a wooden structure,
Yeah, it is.
a wooden structure with a thatch roof, like,
Yep.
so I'm
Well,
sure that would have.
there's an image of it, back to the pictures, there's an image of it being about 3 inches off the road, you know, as well. So, it's standing still with modernization being inches away from it. And it's more than 3 inches. I'm kidding,
Right.
but it is literally right there. There's like no
Like,
sidewalk, so, as trucks and everything else rattle by, and I don't know that um, the town is overly busy, but it certainly isn't unpopulated either. So there's definitely
mhm.
traffic passing through.
Yeah.
Um,
This picture, I'm seeing the picture in my preview screen, and it is like 3 inches. It's
it
not
looks like
very
3 inches at least, yeah. Uh,
small.
but I can speak from here where we are, and in the town I grew up in Columbia, PA.
Hmm.
There was a state road, Route 441, had come through town, directly through town, and made a hard right turn at Locust Street and Third and Locust, and went down along the river. And for those who enjoy Turkey Hill dairy products, it's made here, very very close by to us. And those trucks pass through my community every day, and they had been doing so for a very long time.
Hmm.
There became a landfill in that area as well. And therefore, the big trucks with the roll off dumpsters and such would come through, and buildings literally, the foundation of buildings that are on that route were literally getting crumbled by the friction and vibration of those trucks on a regular basis. Not to mention cars and other things, but
Right.
so the point of we moved the route out of town. We actually built a bypass and right along the river route to get that traffic away from the core of the municipality
Hmm.
and to preserve those structures because one of them was Hinkle's Pharmacy, Hinkle's restaurant now,
Right.
which is one of those landmark locations that everybody in this area knows about. And their foundation was stack rock, so it was literally coming apart and having to be supported every couple of years. So I can say that from here, and that's something that was built like in the early 1900s,
Right.
not something that was built in the 1100s or even the 1400s.
Well,
I
and
can only imagine what that's like there, and it's amazing. That's my point, and I'm gonna get there.
right.
It's amazing to me that this place is still standing at all because of that transition of us in modernization. That was not intended consequence
Right.
of modernization to cause damage like this because we have cars now. We didn't have cars back then.
Right. Hmm. I mean, and I think Bert made the same point. Hard to believe something wooden lasted that long.
Yes.
So, and again, looking at some of these pictures, it was definitely built in phases,
Yes, I agree.
and you can tell that there's the early style. Then you move into the Tudor section of it. Like this building has been added onto, and I mean, it's a gorgeous building, but run down, I'm sure, but just gorgeous, and the architectural styles that are within it, just it's a history lesson all in itself.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. And
so
that's the benefit. And like every place that is old now, that's not function the way it used to be. But it's still accessible to us. Your ticket fee is not necessarily a profit center. It's more of the support system to help keep
right.
the renovations and the restorations happening, to keep it being available to others later beyond us. And
Which is
and
so
I'm
important.
grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah. Because if it wasn't done 100 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do this thing for our generations. The
Yeah,
upcoming generations. So,
absolutely. Paying it forward.
yeah.
I,
So,
I remember we had Daryl Marston on a while back. You remember he was talking about his trips over to UK and how
mhm.
there was a church across the street from a location that he was using as with the original work he was doing, and it was a Nordic church, and it was still standing, from this window in the 1300s even. But it's an old aged facility. It was still standing and looked in good condition. Obviously, it wasn't open to the public.
Right.
I believe he said the building that he was using, that the addition in the back was like 400 years old.
Right.
It's
I
a
mean,
new part.
and this just predates, it just predates our understanding in the United States of history.
Yes. Yes. We
Um,
are we are babies in the world. Yes. Yeah, very true. Uh,
um, and unfortunately, we wiped out most of what that history was here before us.
Yeah,
So,
we did. Sadly, you're right. Agreed.
but so to answer the normal question, is it paranormal or not? If it's not, there's something wrong.
Yeah, hell yeah. My answer, hell yeah. Um, and here's how we find out. So
We book a
there are daytime and overnight investigations. The daytime, and you get in, you have a guide, so someone is with you,
right,
and more for liability than and just overall building security than anything. It is a whopping 35 pounds to do that, which is equivalent to $47.27 as of yesterday's exchange rate, USD. And if you want to do it overnight, and same thing, you'll have a host with
mhm,
you. Think of us when we went to Tala, how we had guides there, but
right.
didn't really guide us only if needed. They're just to make sure everybody was safe and secure. It's 59 pounds for that overnight experience, which equals to be about $79.68. Where in anywhere we know can you do what we want to do or we get to do for $79.68, sir?
And if nowhere.
And if it wasn't like $1,000 plane trip, it would be really affordable, right?
So you have to make it. You have to split that $1,000 plane trip up between like 10 spaces, and then it makes it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Is that how this
Well,
works?
but still, I mean, you'll do other things while you're there, of course,
Yeah,
too. So it's well worth it. And I'm sure we can find more than one thing to investigate
I
while
bet.
we're abroad. But oh my gosh, I saw the rates and I was like, yeah, okay, yes, please. Um, And then, if you can't make the trip, you can go to their website, which again is ancientramin.co.uk, and you can register for access to their live streams for investigations. So
Okay.
the facility has cameras, and very much like the Hinsdale House when we were there, there's you when you're an investigator there, you get access to their live stream for the time you're there, and
Right.
and you have it for a certain amount of time after you leave, so you can go back and review it on top of the things you take with you to for your own capture. So it's a nice add-on in that sense. Here, anytime once you're registered, as I understand, anytime there's a live stream happening for a physical investigation that's scheduled, they'll let you know. They'll send you a message and say, "Hey, we're going to go live on Tuesday at 3. Jump in if you want to." And
Mhm.
you got to remember the time difference here. There's several hours between
Right.
us, but that's pretty cool. I did register, so just so you
Oh,
know,
cool.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Cool.
So, but yeah,
Um,
wow, yeah, right there, that's cool enough. So you can be anywhere in the world,
mhm,
and not be in the moment with the folks in the building, but see what they're seeing. That's
mhm.
fantastic too.
Jamie, we didn't miss something there. August 9th, a couple days ago, was the open day for $10.
Yes, yes,
You
I
could have
saw.
gotten in.
Yes, and then coming up on October 11th is a make your own voodoo doll event as well. So uh,
Well,
they had
we
they had one a couple months ago, and then
unfortunately we have a an investigation at Boobies that night, so
we
we
do. We're
can't.
busy. I know. But and I'll throw that back to our voodoo episode back in season 1 as well.
Right. Well,
So that kind of stuff. It's just the fun of it. There are events they had for kids as well. Think of our Boo Crew that we've done, where we bring in a group of youths to teach how to be a paranormal investigator at a younger age. They
mhm.
do the same idea of it anyway, and have events that are specific for kids to come um, and check out the place and
So,
work the
Bert,
paranormal side of it.
yeah, Bert says they'll be in England at some point, and he has a family castle to visit not too far away. I expect
Excuse me, sir. You have a family castle? What the what? Why am I learning about that just now?
but I
I,
expect a book report from.
yeah, I expect a lot from that. So, well, that's really cool, and therefore, when in the neighborhood, you might as well stop by, right?
Mhm.
Call first, just make sure someone's home. But I think you're good.
Well,
It's
Jamie,
really
it
cool.
sounds like someone's always home at this location.
It's good. Well played. I'm glad I didn't take that sip first. Holy cow! Ooh,
Uh, yeah. Wow. That would sounds like an amazing site. Um, I think we're gonna have to do some more European studies and see what else is over there.
sure.
And yeah, wow.
Well, again, we're talking about a part of the world that is really old and really well documented.
Hmm.
And the UK is, it has that advantage, but it's also elsewhere as well. So, um, there's so many places everywhere. We talk about this all the time. There are no bounds to this, the
Right.
paranormal world, and people have literally been dying for thousands and thousands and
Hmm.
thousands of years. So yes, I agree with what you said, and I certainly I think we have the opportunity to go anywhere. And the question, I guess, the good problem is how do you narrow? Um, that's so cool to have so many choices.
Hmm. All right, we have some comments to catch up on here, Jamie. Jim says, "Thanks for introducing me to a place I knew nothing about." Same here. Great information from across the pond. Bert said, "My grandfather was the cofferer to King Henry the Seventh, or 12th, Seventh. My
Seven.
my Roman numerals aren't that great." And then this one,
The
Jamie.
X would be a 10. So, yep, 7.
Heather says, "I have a family castle in Scotland. Kaya wants to go to England for her graduation gift, so we'll be there in 2027."
All right. Well, we were just hanging out with royalty and we don't even know it. Look at that.
Apparently,
Goodness.
yeah.
All right.
So,
I don't know if I should bow or curtsy next time I see him. Um, Probably both to be safe, right?
yeah,
Oh
definitely.
gosh. All right. Well,
So,
I'm curious, Bert, if you can tell me what a cofferer is. I think I know. Yeah, it would be someone who handles money, I believe, but I'd be curious to know what that post does for the king. So, let me know, or anyone let me know. Um, wow. Yeah, man, the more you know.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Well, my opinion here is it's haunted. It has to be,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
again, documentation after documentation after documentation. I give a lot of credit to the Humphrey family, picking up the property in 1968. I don't know what they got it for. I'm sure we could dig that out if we wanted to, but it was in a state of disrepair, or ill repair anyway. And
Mhm.
they certainly worked to reestablish the place, bring it back up to code and standards and all that. But then, they were willing to share their experiences. And this is another thing. You brought up the comment hiding in plain sight last week with the Saratoga County homestead.
Mhm.
This building just sits back there and nobody knows what's going on at it. This is one of those places if folks didn't bring it forward.
Right.
And that, to your point about other things, I'm positive to say this, that there are many, many, many others there in the UK, and of course everywhere here. We're not, wherever you are, it doesn't matter, whatnot. Um, they're out there, and they're just waiting to be discovered, and they all have a tale to tell, and that's fantastic. And
Yep.
that's the stuff that excites me,
Mm.
about the field. It's just we will retire before we ever see it all.
Mhm. Well, I'm sure Heather feels this too. We'll be like, I'll be driving somewhere, and I'll be driving, and I'll just look at a house, and I'm like, there's a story there, or that's haunted, or there's something going on there. Um, so I'm sure Heather gets that, and probably Bert too, and I'm sure a lot of people get that.
Mhm. Sure. And we tend to see the places that look like the Adams family house, right? And think, oh man, oh yeah, that place. But then you have a place that's such an unassuming property like the Doss house over in
Hmm.
Loretto, PA. That doesn't have that classic haunted house look about it, but
Right.
it's an active, highly active location that just wows you.
Hmm.
So, you're right. And without knowing anything more, the intuition and sensitivities that individuals have really is a good starting point,
Right.
unless the documentation is there and it's being presented forward. But so many times people live with stuff and like, if you don't mess with me, I won't mess with you. You kind of have a coexistence. It
Hmm.
just keeps going and going and going. So
Speaking of the Doss house, Jamie, you know how it looks like run down and haunted because it looks run down.
yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, their insurance company is making them paint it, so it will not have the rundown look. I
Wow.
talked to Shauna at the bash, and she said, "Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately," because I pulled up the picture. I'm like, "Yeah, I drove by," and she's like, "Yeah, they're making us paint it. We're just trying to figure out what color scheme to go with." They almost want to go all black just to
Right. Yeah. It fits.
so. But anyway, Bert did say it's like a treasure.
I see that. Yep.
Um,
Very cool. And Heather commented here, absolutely. There are houses that I drive by that you can just feel them
yeah,
with an exclamation point.
yeah.
Totally understand that.
So yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that's haunted 6 ways to Sunday. So
Another thing for the list too,
mhm.
a long list that we have of places we'd love to be to and experience ourselves. So until then, the live stream's the best we have, I guess. But
Yeah,
there's that. So very cool. And thanks to the ancient Ramin for presenting themselves that way too. I mean, that's really cool for those around the world, and paranormal enthusiasts are everywhere. So this allows us to connect in a
mhm.
much better way than we ever could otherwise. Fantastic.
Yep. So
All right. Well, sir, that's everything I got.
that's what you got.
Thanks for letting me indulge this one. And
Thank you
it's
for bringing this. I'd never heard of it until it came up on
well,
your list. I'm like, what's that?
yeah, I've known about this one for a long time. I'm sure I saw an episode of somebody's something somewhere back in the day. It might have been the Ghost Adventures episode, maybe, but I don't
Mhm.
think so. I don't recall that specifically. But it's been a place I've known about for a couple of years, and the wish list. If you go anywhere, where would you go? Kind of
Right.
thing. We joke all the time about having a paranormal plane or a paranormal bus or whatnot. Now we need a paranormal boat too, I guess. But um, so
Yeah.
Because we got to get out to the lighthouse, Elon Moore.
All right. Right.
You know, while we're up that way, right?
Mm, may
So
as well. So,
it's just around the corner. Uh, so the list keeps growing.
just around the corner. Yeah,
Just
we're running out of time, Jamie.
I know. Well, I keep having birthdays, right?
So,
Gosh. Uh, all right.
all
Let's
right. Speaking of running out of time.
Yep. Let's move on.
All right. So upcoming episodes for us next week. I'm sort of excited about this one. Hauntings in History at Ford's Theater. Everybody knows about the Abraham Lincoln assassination there. Did you know about the other traumatic event there where over 20 people lost their lives?
I do not.
Okay, well, let's just tease that one a little bit then.
Okay. More to come.
More to come next week. The week after that, we're going to have two guests with us, Jeffrey Tolbert and Sean Dixon. I'll have a little bit more information on that in a second. Following that, we're going to do the Paris catacombs. Jamie's going to tackle the secrets beneath the City of Light. The weekend after that, or week after that, weekend, weeks, whatever, it's all running together. Todd and Carmela with 222 PIR are going to join me. Jamie's probably going to be away. I mean, if you can sneak
I'm
on,
going to be away. Whether I'm available or not is in question. I will be
right?
traveling that day.
So we'll see if you can sneak in. That'd be great. If not, Todd and Carmela and I'll have a great conversation, I'm sure.
Yep. I think
A great,
it's just noting that it takes two to replace me while I'm away.
well, yeah, yeah.
It took two last time with Steve and Chris from, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the group, but down Steve Dills and
Transcend.
Chris Godwin. So it took two to replace me there too. Just saying. Just
Yeah.
saying.
So,
Doesn't-
how many people are you going to have on when I'm gone, Jamie?
I don't think we can do this without you.
Anyway, we'll keep moving here. September 23rd, Ghost of China's Forbidden City. We're trying to get something in there during Chinese Ghost Month. And then moving on to the Mysteries of Mount Shasta. So,
Wrapping up September strong on that one.
yep. So September 2nd, we're going to have Jeffrey Tolbert, who's the assistant professor of American Studies and Folklore, along with Sean Dixon, who is a PhD candidate in American Studies at Penn State University. They are doing a research project that is pretty interesting, focusing on supernatural beliefs, paranormal investigation, and the ways folklore takes shape in popular culture. And Sean is researching supernatural vernacular religious expression and how sociopolitical identity shapes the construction of belief.
Wow.
So this could be a pretty deep conversation, Jamie.
It will be. I think it will be. Absolutely. I'm really excited. We've known this was coming, right?
Hmm.
But I was excited from the start of it and the idea of them coming to join us. And as we've had pretty good, really good conversations, not pretty good, really good conversations with both as they have attended our events and engaged with the guests there on our team. But, to really hear more from them, they ask a lot of questions of us and let us do a lot of talking, right?
Hmm.
And they do a lot of data capture and information capture. But now to hear their side of this, where they're at with everything, and ask them questions back, I'm
Hmm.
really excited for this one. So
It should be fun.
don't miss this one. It's going to be great.
So, and speaking of our events for
Yeah,
Jotix, September 27th is the next time we're going to be at the brewery. Only 19 tickets left at this point, so they're probably going to be sold out by the time we hit that week. Then we move into spooky month because we're already in spooky season.
it's always spooky season.
We're going to move into
Paranormal lens.
the 11th and the 18th of October. We have public investigations. For the 18th, which is our last investigation before Halloween, we only have 14 tickets left for that one.
Yep, it'll
So,
go quickly as well.
yeah, that one will probably get sold out pretty early. Then we have November 8th and December 6th. So we're going to round out the year there.
Yep.
And so grab tickets while you can. Want to make sure those investigations happen. So when we hit our minimum numbers, yeah, well, just exciting things going on at the brewery with things.
Yeah.
Um,
Just remember too, Mountjoy is more fun when you sleep over.
it
And there are
is.
accommodations on site that you can choose from.
Yep.
So you don't have to go far, and you certainly don't have to go home after.
Right.
So,
And there are privates available if you want to do private investigations. I've had two people reach out to me this week about it, and I've pointed them towards Melissa.
yep.
So
Yeah,
um,
happy to coordinate that as well. So you
exactly.
want to bring your whole team and don't want to join in with others, um, feel free to reach out. We'll connect the dots for you and see what dates are available and get you going.
Hmm. So, and then as usual, you can find us on all sorts of different social medias. The team has a website. It's up and running. It's jot dash nixparanormal.com. Um, that's up and running. We've got some cool things there that we're working through. You found us on Facebook or YouTube. We have Instagram. Paranormal Lens has Facebook and YouTube. So reach out, find us. You can find everything together at one place at Linktree /paranormal lens. That's probably the easiest place to go to find stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that's about it. And what do you have to wrap us up here, Jamie? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, just the usual thank yous, for
Mhm.
first of all for the let me cover this topic tonight, but for everybody for joining us. We really appreciate the support and the feel that everybody gives us with these episodes. It really helps us to know our own path, the right path. But if there's something you want us to cover, we're more than willing. We certainly do listener submissions. We've done many. We'll do many more. And with that, just reach out. Connect with us either on any of the socials. With respects to what you'd like to see. If it's something that's personal, we might be able to get you to come on with us as well and tell us your story.
Yep.
So we're more than willing. We self-produce, obviously. Um, sorry. But with that, we can move that schedule you saw earlier around. The only thing that's set in stone is the September 9th episode or second episode with Dr. Tolbert
Hmm.
uh, and his assistant Sean there. So we otherwise we can move and we will if we need to. So happy to help, happy to engage, and let us know how we're doing as well. Drop us a comment, drop some stars if you can, if you wish. The goods, the bads, the uglies, what you're thinking of how we're presenting. Lets us know what path we're on, whether it's good or not.
Hmm.
Like to think we're giving our best, but if we can do better, we'd like to hear about it. So let us know.
Definitely. So that's it, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
All right.
Woo.
Oh, and look at this.
Ah,
Bert says this is his favorite podcast.
I told you last week, Bert, the check is in the mail. All right. It's slow. Just give it time.
Oh my. So
Thank you. It's appreciated.
yeah, we do appreciate that. All right. So I got some closing thoughts here, Jamie.
Yep. Yep.
So the shadows of the ancient Ram Inn refuse to fade, reminding us that history and haunting walk hand in hand. Until next time, stay alert, stay respectful, and stay curious. Good night.